you all for tuning in to yet another episode of Awkward Introvert, where I'll be giving you my truths, even if it hurts. On this episode of Awkward Introvert, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about. All I know is I'm about to talk, because this is how I started out. Every time I come to the mic, I try to think exactly what it is that I'm going to come to the minds of saying. But then I get into the emotion. The emotion is where I live. So I get into the emotion. The people a lot, I can't really talk with people that don't really relate. So I have to sit down and have these conversations with myself and then sit back and reflect what it was that I heard myself say to understand what it is that I'm going through, because nobody can help me the way that I always be able to be available to help others. Whether they don't have the patience nor the understanding or the intellect to understand what it is that I'm stating when I'm saying it, because sometimes they say I got to dumb down what it is that I'm saying. Now, if I got to dumb down what it is that I'm saying when I'm saying it, I'm not telling you about what it is that I'm saying. I'm going to keep it to myself, and I'm going to tell it to myself, and I'll listen to it myself, and then I'll understand it and find the understandings my goddamn self. You know, people come to people because sometimes they need somebody to talk to. And I really felt like this today. Went to a friend and had this conversation with, and this motherfucker couldn't even have a conversation because my IQ is way above his, and having a conversation with him, he's not understanding what it is that I'm talking about and what it is that I'm saying. And I can't even be mad at him because he's dumb as hell, but this way he at. And I got to look at that. This is where he at and who he is, and he ain't ready to grow to the level it is that I am at mentally. He ain't even ready to think how it is that I think, because consciously his level don't come to that level, you know? So I can't make somebody be or understand what it is that I need them to understand for the understandings of me, because sometimes I don't understand, and I need somebody to give me the understandings. But then I realized the understandings always come to me, because all I got to do is sit still, and then God give me what it is that I need. I am the source. The source feeds me. So that makes me the source. So I don't have to go to nobody else to get what it is that I already internalized. I just need to sit still with myself, hear God's voice, maybe even do a recording for my own self and internalize what it is that I'm hearing once I re-listen to what it is that I said. Because that's how it is. You know, I've always been that way. I've been journaling since I was like 11 years old, and I still have all my writings. And those writings, I still reflect back on and read some of them at the times when I was going through what I was going through with my mom and not understanding. And I still find understandings today from that emotion that I left behind for me to go back like a breadcrumb and cure. You know what I'm saying? So I'm basically in the healings of myself. And this is where I've been for a minute. Let me tell you a story of recycled betrayal, cloaked revenge, and divine revelation. This isn't just about a hater. This is about the devil dressing in memories, using the past as a disguise and trying to feed off my pain, but ending up banned in the end, not just from my life, but from the divine blueprint of my destiny. This is Banned by Revelation. He came back after 20 years, wearing the same face, the same smile, but my soul knew better. 2 decades ago, I left him behind, not because I didn't love him, but because he loved the power more than partnership. He manipulated, he lied, he gaslighted. And when I walked away, I left flames still burning behind me, apparently. But time has a funny way of making demons look like deliverance. I had just lost my brother. I was at my lowest of the emotional points, and he preyed upon my vulnerability. He returned with a smile dressed in gospel tones, said he had changed, said he was a man of reflections, of repentance, and stood on what it was that he said that he wanted. These are all words. Pain doesn't lie, and my spirit never forgot what my flesh tried to suppress. Behind him, slithered in the shadows, I'm assured there is another woman. One who calls herself his healing. The one who plays confidently in the shadows, as she is the courier, delivering my vulnerabilities to her like sacrificial offering. Every text I sent, I know he discusses it and reads them with her. Every tear I shed, trust, he drank it like wine with her. They were feeding off of me the entire time, and I didn't even know I was the feast yet. One night, God took me in a dream, and it wasn't peace I was shown. It was prophecy. Like John of Patmos, I stood in the spirit, Before me, a massive stage and actors moving without mouths. But I could hear every intention. There he was, my ex, grinning behind the curtains, controlling the strings, repeating the same play he ran 20 years ago, down to the same line, the same emotional tactics, the same betrayal, using the same deceit. And there she was, my friend, that Judas, with a sugary voice, feeding him my pain like communion. It wasn't love that the two of them were after. It was access. Access to my vulnerabilities, to the place they no longer belong. Then I saw his hell. God peeled back the veil and I saw a room of mirrors, every reflection showing versions of me leaving him over and over and over again as he screamed, but no sound comes out. See, that's because that's the price of willful redundancy. Revelation 2:23 echoed in my dreams. I am he who searches hearts and minds, and I will repay each according to their deeds. I awoke shaken, but sharpened. My soul now had more receipts, and the word gave me strategy. First I need to cut this hater loose. No warning, no speech, just deletion. He tried to crawl his way back with the "Are you okays?" and I need to talk with you. It's urgent. I really love yous, but Judases don't get a second kiss. Then I let him talk. I refused to listen with ears though, because of discernment. Because everything he said was wrapped in nostalgia, dipped in manipulation. He wanted to break me again, to remind me of who I used to be. But God already reminded me of who it was that I am now. As he said, I miss you. In my mind, I said, you miss control, nigga. He said, I'm not that man no more. I'm like, you're right. Your strategy ain't even changed. You're banished, blocked, spiritually gagged, no more access, not even in my dreams. Poof, get out of here. You're gone. You're done. You know what's worse than the outer hell? Inner torment. The kind where your regrets never shut up. Well, this is where that man lives now. This is the place. A hell that Revelation describes in chapter 9. In those days, men will seek death and not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them. Now, he watches me from digital shadows. He sees my glow up, my healings, my peace, and he can't touch any of it. Because God said no weapon formed shall prosper. But he never said the weapon wouldn't try. It just wouldn't win. Now he sits in silence, trapped in a loop projection, knowing he done lost me twice for the same damn reason. You can repeat dysfunction and expect a different resurrection. Okay? That's called spiritual stupidity. And stupidity, when repeated, becomes their cell. I didn't ban him out of anger. I banned him out of alignment. You see, when God gives you vision, he also gives you boundaries. And what you tolerate becomes what you marry, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. I no longer negotiate with parasites. I no longer explain exits. When God exposes intent, banishment isn't punishment, it's protection. This was never just a breakup. This was a cleansing, a spiritual exorcism. He wasn't sent to love me. He was sent to monitor me. He was sent to test me. But heaven armed me with a dream and a sword. Access denied, entry revoked, name erased. Let this episode be a prophecy to the ones listening. When you let the wrong people back in your life, they delay divine momentum. Discern their intentions. Don't negotiate with old demons in new suits. And if God gives you a dream, believe it. Because sometimes you don't need closure. You just need clarity. and the courage to ban them by revelation. This is Awkward and Introvert, and this venom was necessary. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in to our next story. Giving you the truth, even if it hurts. Not giving down my light, I know my self-worth. Not arguing with no fools, going back and forth. I'm here to share the world, so gon' eat it up. Gon' eat up, let the truth go fill you up.